season. Now, before I get started, I want to point out that a commenter pointed out to me that I got my math wrong on last week's review. I was at 91.5 out of 143. The actual count is 91.5 out of 150. So I just added 7 to each side instead of 7 and 14. That was my bad. So I've adjusted that accordingly on the spreadsheet. Anyways, also unfortunately I ended up having to work this Sunday, so I missed a lot of these games. I was working from like 6 a.m. until just past noon, so I missed most of these games, but I went back and watched highlights and stuff where I could. Anyways, let's get into it. First up, I said that the Packers would beat the Titans. I said that I wasn't confident about it when I made the prediction, and unfortunately for me, I probably should have gone with my gut, because I start out this week with an L. The Titans beat the Packers 27-17, and the nice thing, at least about this game, is that it was pretty competitive back and forth. It's not like, the Titans just ran away with it. It was actually a pretty back and forth game. Ryan Tannehill went 22 for 27, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Aaron Rodgers, 24 completions on 39 attempts, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And the funny thing is, and this is a call that me personally I haven't seen very often, is that that first touchdown Green Bay got, the Titans were actually called for a too many men penalty. Obviously Green Bay declined it because they got the touchdown out of the play, but it's kind of like a little bit of salt in the wound that they scored on you when you had too many men on the field. Like, what was that extra guy doing? But yeah, this was a great back and forth game overall. Just the Titans were ever so slightly better in this game. Interestingly, the Packers are actually a 3.5-point favorite in this one as well. So Titans beating the expectations there. I said the Patriots would beat the Jets, and they did. This game was not very good or exciting, especially for the Jets. Final score 10-3 in favor of the Patriots. There was like, how many yards? This game had like less than 400. Actually, no, it had exactly 400 total yards in this entire game. And, there's 1 touchdown. Now, the nice thing is that the touchdown, what's his name? Hold on. I'd like to find his name real quick. Oh, never mind. I'm mistaken. That's a different game. But the touchdown is a punt return touchdown in this game, which is interesting. I thought the receiver for this set the NFL record for punt return touchdowns, but that's actually a different game coming up. I just got my my storyline's a little bit confused there. But there was a stat coming into this week that Zach Wilson was the worst quarterback in the entire league when under pressure, and he did nothing to fix that this game. Zach Wilson, 9 completions on 22 attempts, 77 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Mac Jones, 23 completions on 27 attempts, 246 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And Zach Wilson, after the game, there were some things going on that there's this tweet from SNY Jets. Sources inside the Jets locker room told SNY. I'm not sure if SNY is anything important really, but they seem to be a pretty solid source for Jets information. Source inside the Jets locker room told SNY that Zach Wilson was walking around after the game like he isn't the problem. It rubbed more than a few the wrong way, frustrating several others. So there's that. He was walking around like he wasn't the problem, but then also, I think he gave an interview. Where is this interview? Oh, multiple Jets players like a tweet calling out Zach Wilson. I could have sworn they gave some interview after the game saying that like he didn't see any problems with his play. But the problem is that the Jets just slipped out of a playoff spot after this loss, when it was looking like early in the season they were about to, have their first playoffs in a while. And then after that story comes out about the locker room not being behind Zach Wilson, Schefter tweets out, Jets head coach Robert Saleh told reporters that he's not committing quarterback Zach Wilson as his starting quarterback Sunday's game versus the Bears. So Zach Wilson has lost his starting job. And I guess it'll be Mike White in at QB. Isn't that their backup, or is it Flacco? Jets depth chart. At QB they have Zach Wilson, Mike White, Joe Flacco. So I imagine it'll be Mike White next week. But yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Zach Wilson has lost the locker room. He's supposed to be the leader in that room. And that's to say nothing about the fact that the Jets only got 2 yards the entire second half of the game. 2 yards. The Jets got 2 yards in the last half, the last 2 quarters of the game. Just completely unacceptable, and Zach Wilson, definitely, you have to wonder what's going to be happening with him next season. Alright, I spent a little bit too much time on that one. I was just, the whole thing with Zach Wilson's honestly just kind of like annoying to me, like the fact that he's acting like that. Anyway, I said the Bills would beat the Browns, and they do. 31-23 is your final score. This game being held in Detroit at Ford Field because Buffalo is having like the worst snowstorm in human history, like 6 feet of snow. The airport was closed, all sorts of stuff. So you could have forgiven them if they came out in this game a little bit flat, and honestly Josh Allen did come out in this a little bit flat. I would say in this game that the Bills definitely won in spite of his performance. The Browns offense looked kind of better in my opinion. Jacoby Brissett, 28 completions on 41 attempts, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Josh Allen, 18 completions on 27 attempts, 197 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Alright. Moving on. I said the Broncos would beat the Raiders, and it went to OT, but the Raiders do get the win. They're back in the W column, and they're third place now. Broncos fourth place because Raiders had the tiebreaker. This is a problem now. Russell Wilson did not throw a touchdown this week, and there's kind of been this meme going around. I think it started on TikTok, but now it's starting to get some traction, like in actual news outlets and stuff. Russell Wilson has thrown 7 touchdowns through 11 weeks. I think the Broncos have had a bye week, so 10 games. And it says 10 games into the season, Russell Wilson is on pace to throw fewer touchdowns. 11.9 is his projected season total now, than the number of bathrooms in his house, and he has 12 bathrooms in his house. I saw a great response to that, where someone said, "Why do you need 12 bathrooms when you know what on the field every week?" But yeah, I think this season, I know this season's pretty much done for the Broncos. I think maybe mathematically they've not been eliminated yet, but for all intents and purposes, they're not making the playoffs. So maybe you have to hope, especially if you're a Broncos fan, maybe Wilson bounces back next season. Maybe they need to get a new head coach or something, but definitely not the season that was being expected. Final score 22-16 in favor of the Raiders. Derek Carr and the Raiders finally have a good game. They've been needing one. They've been struggling. 23 completions, 37 attempts, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Russell Wilson, 24 completions on 31 attempts, 247 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Next up, this was my upset pick. I said the Chargers would beat the Chiefs in an upset, and they got close. They were only 3 points shy, and Kansas City was favored by 5.5, but Chargers come up just short, and it seems like the Chiefs are just sort of the hump that the Chargers are unable to get over. And Chargers fans, I saw all over social media, they're very dejected after this game. People are really upset. They're saying stuff like, "It's the hope that kills you, this isn't it," stuff like that. And, I thought that the Chargers I'd imagine they'd probably be like 7-3 right now, maybe 8-2. I thought the Chargers were going to have a really good season. You guys know Justin Herbert, as an Oregon Ducks fan, never, ignore the shirt. Herbert's one of my favorite players in the league. And unfortunately, last season he was really good, and he's actually taken a step back this season. And the team around him hasn't changed too much, I don't think. I don't keep up with the Chargers too much, so I'm probably wrong on that. Let me know, but it feels like the cast around him hasn't changed too much. But for some reason, the Chargers just can't get over the hump. They can't, get over, especially the Chiefs. I think I saw something that said, like, let me see if I can find it, about Herbert being like, his record against the Chiefs is like astronomically bad. Where is it? Okay. This is bad too. There's this tweet, I just now saw this. The Chargers are allowing a third down conversion rate of 43.8%, which is the worst in the entire league. The second worst team in the league is at 33.3%. So the Chargers are allowing 10% more third down conversions than the second worst team at third down conversions in the league. That's really bad, and you have to imagine something like that will, definitely impact the outcome of these games. And if they were able to get that under control, they would have probably more wins. I mean, most definitely more wins. Let me try and find a stat I'm looking for about Herbert versus Mahomes. Where is it? Where is it? Herbert is 1-4 against Patrick Mahomes in his career. He has one win against him. That's not very good. I think I said the score already. 30-27 Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is 20 for 34, 329 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Justin Herbert, 23 completions on 30 attempts, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and the interception came at a bad time. It was at the end of the game, and Herbert was trying to make a hero play to salvage it, and personally, I can't fault him too bad for that. Like, you think maybe it would be a little bit smarter in those situations, but when the team around you isn't really doing anything, sometimes the QB feels like, it's kind of in their hands to make the play. That's what they're expected to do. And he's made those plays before, so it definitely is concerning that he keeps getting these interceptions in the final 2 minutes of the game. I think this is like his third or fourth one now, where it's like the final 2 minutes and he gets an interception on what could be a game-winning drive. But I don't know, it kind of feels like curtains for the Chargers on this season. We'll see. Hopefully they can bounce back. Definitely next season. I still have faith in the team, but it's just a little concerning, so. Alright, well, I said the Bengals would beat the Steelers, and at least I got that one right. Let's get the green going there. 37-30 in favor of the Bengals coming off their bye week. Joe Burrow, 24 completions on 39 attempts, 355 yards, 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns for Joe Burrow. 2 interceptions. Not great interception numbers there, but Kenny Pickett, 25 for 42, 265 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Yeah, I didn't watch this game. This was an early game. Like I said, this was on while I was at work, so didn't see too much of this. I don't have too much to say, but also, I'm not going to watch a team play the Steelers, let's be honest. Okay, next up, I said the Commanders would beat the Texans. You guys know I have like a weird love for the Commanders, and they rewarded me. 23-10 in favor of the Commanders. Taylor Heineke, 15 completions on 27 attempts, 191 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Davis Mills, 19 completions on 33 attempts, 169 yards, 0 passing touchdowns, but he did get a rushing touchdown. 2 interceptions, and one of those interceptions is the opening score of the game. That was a pick 6 by Fuller. Not a great way to start the game there for the Texans. And I saw this great John Boyce at halftime. The Texans offense is averaging 8.6 inches per play, not yards. 8.6 inches per play. And let's see, inches per yard. Let's get there's 36 inches in a yard. So even if they went for it on all 4 downs, with that average, they would not even gain a single yard, the Texans offense. Terribly bad. They had 148 total yards in this game, 21 rushing yards in this game. That's terrible compared to 153 for the Commanders. But the Texans are taking their tanking very seriously. I'd say they're almost a lock for that first overall pick. Eagles at Colts. Eagles coming off their first loss of the season against the Colts. Well, not a loss against the Colts, but going against the Colts, who've been struggling this season. And this one was really close. To This one's really close, and the Eagles were losing it basically up until the final moments of this game where Jalen Hurts gets a rushing TD. Nice, QB played there from Hurts to get the win, but this was almost 2 losses in a row for the Eagles, but thankfully for me, I get the green there. 17-16 is your final score in a game that the Eagles were favored by 6.5 with an over-under of 45.5. This was meant to be a much higher scoring game, and it kind of just did not turn into that whatsoever. Jalen Hurts, 18 completions, 25 attempts, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Matt Ryan back in at QB after losing his starting spot just a couple weeks ago, but back in now. 23 completions on 32 attempts, 213 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think if the Eagles would have lost this one, especially against the Colts, there might have been some alarm bells losing 2 games in a row, especially with one of those being against this bad Colts team. The fact that they only won it by 1 is maybe a little bit concerning, but I don't know. We'll see how they do next week before I start getting too concerned, but maybe just slight anxiety with the Eagles right now. You want to hope that with such a strong start out of the gate for them that they don't, choke it now down the home stretch, but not that they'd be in any danger of missing the playoffs, but just that, going into the playoffs, being out of form, being cold, you don't want them to lose in the first round, Unless, you're a Cowboys fan or someone who dislikes the Eagles. Maybe like a Vikings fan. Next up, I said the Ravens would beat the Panthers, and they did. This was 2 really bad QB performances. This was just an ugly game in Baltimore. Final score 13-3. Baker Mayfield, 21 completions on 33 attempts, 196 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, 24 completions on 33 attempts, 209 yards, 0 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 interception. Just not a great QB performance from either team here. And honestly, if it wasn't for that Lamar Jackson run towards the end of the game in the 4th quarter, this game would have been 6-3. This would have been a 6-3 ball game, and Baltimore was favored. Baltimore was favored by 12.5 points. They had 13 total points, but they only won by 10. And the over-under on this game was 41.5, and you have 16 total points. If you bet the under in this game, 16 total points on a 41.5 point spread. That's just crazy. Alright, the Saints beating the Rams. This was another one. I thought that it was an upset pick when I made it. Maybe conventional wisdom, it might be considered an upset, although Vegas had New Orleans as a 2.5 point favorite. But I do end up getting the W on this one, 27-20 in favor of the Saints. Hold on, I have to pause the recording 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I am back. Anyways, as I was saying, 27-20 in favor of the Saints. I thought that was an upset pick, but apparently they were favored. Matthew Stafford, 11 completions on 18 attempts. I knew as soon as Cooper Kupp was injured, that kind of changed the math around this game, kind of changed the calculus, but without Cooper Kupp only throwing the ball 18 times, it's kind of shocking Kate Stafford throwing more than that. Stafford 11 of 18, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, comes out 21 for 25, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Good game from Dalton, and his team gets the W. And I think the Saints go from 4th to 3rd place on this one. Or were they already in 3rd? Yeah, they jumped the Panthers, I think. I think the Panthers were 3rd, they were 4th, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Anyways, next up I said the Giants would beat the Lions. I've been all about the Giants hype, but unfortunately they did not get it done against the Lions, who have now won their 3rd game in a row, and the Lions are now 2nd in the NFC North. The Lions are 4-6-0. Honestly, with some of the games they played, the Lions should be at 6-6. Like, their record should be better than it is. The Lions are 2nd in the NFC North. That is crazy. 31-18 in favor of the Lions. Giants were favored in this game. Jared Goff, 165 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But Jamal Williams, Jared Goff was just getting Jamal Williams into field position. He had 3 rushing touchdowns this game. 17 carries for 64 yards and 3 touchdowns. Crazy from Jamal Williams, and they were all like goal line runs too. Daniel Jones, 27 completions on 44 attempts, 341 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, but he also had a rushing touchdown. But those two ends are killing you right there. But yeah, this was just, I wasn't really expecting the game to go this way, obviously. The Giants were the Vegas favorite. They were kind of the clear consensus favorite, even outside of betting markets. But yeah, the Lions have now won 3 in a row. Next week they take on the Bills, so you have to wonder, can they keep up that momentum? I don't know, probably not, but I might pick the Lions in an upset just because I enjoy the chaos. I said that the Bears would beat the Falcons. Well, they sure did not do that. Bears lose by 3, 27-24 in favor of the Falcons. Justin Fields, 14 completions on 21 attempts, 153 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 interception. Marcus Mariota, 13 completions on 20 attempts, 131 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. If you are a fan of air raid offenses, if you're a fan of the long ball, if you're a fan of a good strong arm passing quarterback, this is not the game for you. This is not the game for you. Mariota also had a rushing touchdown as well. Now, this is the game I was thinking about earlier when I was looking at the punt return. Cordell Patterson had a kickoff return touchdown, and it was the 9th kickoff return touchdown of his career, which is the new all-time NFL record. So I thought that was pretty cool, that he has that record now, and it's a cool little moment to celebrate about this game. But yeah, Falcons, 2nd in the NFC South. I'd say their record is worse than it should be. I could see them. They should have another 1 or 2 wins, but they got it done against the Bears. The Bears, salty out of the playoffs this season, but they've looked promising so far. I've been really high on the Bears this season. They just kind of started to put it together at the wrong time. If they were putting up performances like this all season long, they could be in a much better position, but I feel like next season the Bears could be quite a bit better. Okay, so now we get to this absolutely disaster game for the Vikings. I said that the Vikings would win this one. They didn't. Not only did they not win, they got blown out by 37 points. Their only score this game was a first quarter field goal, and the Cowboys then proceeded to just hang points on them, just over and over again. I'm actually kind of shocked to see that Dallas was a 2.5 point favorite in this game. With how hot the Vikings have been playing in Minneapolis, I thought they'd be the favorite here. But wow, this, especially because last season the Vikings played what's being deemed the game of the season, the game of the year, like one of the best football games I've ever seen. To go from that to one of the worst football games I've ever seen, I guess that just perfectly encapsulates the Minnesota Vikings, to be honest. But 40-3, like I said, in favor of the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, 22 completions on 25 attempts, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kirk Cousins, 12 completions on 23 attempts, 105 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But man, what a bad game from bad game from the Vikings. They just looked what's the word? They just looked lethargic out there. They didn't have very much energy. It looked like they weren't really playing that hard. I don't know if maybe they took the game for granted after last week's game, if they just kind of got cocky, but they didn't look good. And Micah Parsons forces a fumble on the opening offensive drive for the Vikings, and I immediately was kind of like, okay, something's going on here, and it just snowballed from there. We'll see. Who do the Vikings have next? And obviously, I think they're fine, but they have the Patriots this Thursday, so only 3 days of rest, which is rough, but I think they should be able to get past the Patriots, but we'll see. Niners at Cardinals. I did not realize that this game was being played in Mexico. This was being played in the Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, Mexico. I didn't realize that until the game started. I said the Niners would win, and thankfully the Niners are letting me go out on a win here, even though as a fan of an NFC West team, I wish there was a way they both could have lost, but whatever. 38-10 is your final score in this game. Jimmy Garoppolo, 20 completions on 29 attempts, 228 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Colt McCoy in at QB. Kyler Murray still injured. 24 completions on 34 attempts, 218 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. But man, San Francisco came out hot in that second quarter. That second and third, 17 and 14. That's like, 31 combined points through the middle 2 quarters. I mean, they literally could have not scored in the second half and still won the game. Just a complete trouncing of the Cardinals. But now it's time. We went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We went 8 for 14. We went 8 for 14, which, let me pull up my calculator. 8 divided by 14 is 57%. Okay. 57%. So, my season totals now, let's make sure I get the math right, unlike last time. 99.5 out of 164. Right? 99.5 divided by 164 is 60%. So I actually dropped this week. And I think at this point, the way the math works out is I need to get better than 60% every single week, or else I'm going to keep dropping, which is not great. But that was week 11. Like I said, unfortunately, I got called into work last minute. They literally told me Saturday night, we need you Sunday at 6 a.m., an hour away from your house. And I was like, alright. So that was a bit unfortunate, and I missed a lot of these games because of that, but still wanted to come in here and talk about this week. Week 11 in the books, week 12 coming up next. We are in the final stretch. If this is boxing, we'd say we are in the championship rounds, and this is where teams will make or break their season. Some teams might be in a good position now and they'll go skidding across the finish line and crash and burn. Maybe some teams that have been just sort of in a holding pattern will turn on the jets and pull ahead. We'll see. Only time will tell. My predictions video will be out on Wednesday. I've downloaded some new games recently, going to be putting some gameplay up on the channel. I've got a few different things I just want to throw out there. There's like 3 or 4 games I just recently purchased that I want to play for you guys. And we're getting into the holiday season, so I know there's a lot of you guys that just watch my NFL videos, not the rest of it. For those of you, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. If you're an American, I'm not sure when Canadian Thanksgiving is, apologies, but my fellow Americans, have a good Thanksgiving. Anyways, if you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Till next time, guys. Bye bye.